So my name is Gary, and I'll be the host for tonight's live session. Now, 365 Live is a platform where we educate the public on cancer and encourage a cancer prevention lifestyle. Now, as always, a disclaimer for this session. Just a gentle reminder that all of the insights, the stories that are shared, the experiences, they are drawn from personal, individual experiences only. This is not intended to replace any medical professional consultations. So for personalized medical advice and treatment, as always, please consult your doctor directly. Now, without further ado, I'm very excited about tonight's session. This is going to be a very, very amazing session, and I'm so looking forward to it. We are incredibly privileged to host a few individuals, Sabrina, Farida, and Joanna. These are cancer fighters who have walked that arduous journey of recovery. And of course, we are pleased to have them tonight because they have, against all odds, survived, and they are here to share their powerful and unique personal narratives of perseverance and healing. So, can we please bring on our wonderful panelists for this evening, Sabrina, Joanna, and Farida. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sabrina. Hi, Farida. And hi, Gary.
Hello. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Now, just as a quick introduction, actually, I forgot to say, I don't think I said, I'm Gary, I'm your host for tonight's session, but just as a quick introduction for the other panelists here tonight. So Joanna and Farida, first, maybe, do you mind just sharing a brief summary cancer journey? You know, what was your diagnosis? How old were you? And maybe just a few little highlights of your journey. And we'll, of course, go down deeper into this journey as we chat along the way. So maybe, Joanna, would you like to kick us off, please?
Sure, my pleasure. Hi, I was being diagnosed at age 41 with nasopharyngeal cancer. And then from stage 3, it grew up to stage 4. So I was the age was shocked, but that was what happened. I was working halfway, and then things have to jam stop. So before I go into a treatment.
Okay, thank you. And wow, so stage 3 coming to stage 4, you mentioned, yeah?
I did, yeah.
That's getting to the serious end. Yeah. Farida, do you mind just sharing a brief summary of your cancer journey as well?
Sure. Hi. So I'm Farida. I was diagnosed with stage 2 lymphoma at the age of 17. So it was directly after my O levels. So I had to stop school. Yeah, and deal with treatment.
Wow, what a rough time, especially at that point in time. Wow. Thank you for sharing it, and we'd like to hear more from you. But just very quickly, Sabrina, do you mind just introducing yourself and again a little bit about your cancer journey?
Hi everyone, my name is Sabrina, and I've diagnosed with stage 4A uterine cancer when I was 29, 4 years ago. Yeah. So at the time was into my marriage. Yeah.
Okay. So again, very tough point in time to get such a diagnosis. Yeah. So may I ask, and you're welcome, whoever wants to go first, maybe Sabrina, because we're just with you. What was your initial reaction upon receiving the cancer diagnosis?
I think the first thought I had was I can't bear my own kids. At the point in time that I was being shared this news by my gynecologist. So I think that was my main thing. I love kids. My husband also loved kids. So I was taken aback for a bit at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I'm just thinking about it now. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I just had tingling through my whole body thinking about it because I've got 2 kids. And again, if there's a diagnosis like that. For Joanna, Farida, would you like to share also sort of your initial reaction?
Frida, you want to go first or?
Okay, sure. So I remember being in the hospital when my oncologist told me the news. It was very shocking because I was 17, right? But I was in the hospital for 2 weeks before that. So I thought it was just like a fever or, an infection. Yeah, I guess it's a really big infection, right? Cancer. Yeah, it's a lot of shock.
But I can't hear him.
Gary, we can't hear you. I think.
Yeah,
The mic.
can't hear Gary.
Oh, yeah.
Gary, your audio is cut. We can't hear you. Okay. First world issue.
Are we back?
Yes.
Yes.
I just saw that now. Thank you so much for letting me know. Okay. I just wanted to say for Farida, with your diagnosis of lymphoma, do you mind just sharing a little bit about what that is? People that may have heard of breast cancer, or even for Sabrina, uterine cancer, we can sort of understand, which part of the body. But what is lymphoma? Do you mind just sharing very briefly about this lymphoma? Because you said it was like an infection, or you were hoping it was like you're just a bit sick, having a fever. But what actually is lymphoma, just for people to understand that a bit more?
So, lymphoma comes from like lymph nodes. So they found like some cancer cells in my lymph nodes. So the lymph nodes is the one where like it's all over your body. It helps with your immune system and things like that. Yeah, those little like nodules around your body.
Yes. And so it's really a cancer of like the blood, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Which means it's global. It's throughout the body. It's not only isolated to one area.
Yes. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Joanna, would you like to share sort of your initial feelings when you were first told that you had cancer?
I was in shock because I don't smoke, I don't drink. Why on earth I got that? So I remember I got that report. I was like tearing, but when I met my family, my mom, my sister, right outside a very busy, the Chinatown point, outside there's a taxi stand. I took the report. I saw them. I like, "Wah!" I cried. People just walk around, and then my family was shocked. Like, what's going on? What's going on? I just had cancer. I was crying badly, and then they'll just calm me down. And then they said, "Okay, I bring you to eat." So it's a very family way of resolving issue. It's that we talk over food. So they brought me to a restaurant, sat me down, and then okay, now you have cancer. I was crying and sobbing. I was like, I don't know how I get this thing. I was in total shock.
Yeah. Wow, that's tough, and I mean that's tough to hear the news. But I'm guessing that the journey and the whole process to overcome this is even tougher. Yeah. Joanna, would you mind continuing with like maybe what was the most challenging aspect of fighting cancer?
Oh, the most challenging part is, in fact, able to accept it. Because I have really a lot of people come, I mean, goodwill people. They just come by to tell you, the do's and the don'ts, the pro and the cons, having the cancer treatment and not going for cancer treatment. So the part is crossing the barrier to come to acceptance that, hey, you got this problem and you need to properly fix it, rather than just meddle around it. but to fix it with the right attitude, positive attitude, to seek proper medical care. And that is, to me, that is the most crucial part.
Wow, but that requires a bit of toughness, no? Like, I mean, yeah, like you said, having to accept, but that's, yeah.
Not
Because being
easy at
positive
all.
is not easy. I mean,
No.
being positive is not easy just on a normal day, you know? Like we wake up on the wrong side of the bed and we get angry that we have to wait in queue for our kaya toast or something, right? I mean, it's so hard to be positive in that. Now you're telling me about positive about fighting cancer?
No,
Yep,
not at all. Not
that's
at all.
challenging. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Farida, what do you feel is your most challenging aspect of this whole journey of fighting cancer and coming, this far?
I guess for me was I had to give up my social life, so school, friends, and I couldn't go out. I was homebound a lot. Yeah, so I had to give up like going to friends' birthday parties or any
Oh, wow.
events.
Just socializing.
Yeah, it's very like isolating.
Okay. And what did you do to get by? Like, I mean, like I hated being isolated and being stuck at home through COVID. I mean, I can't imagine having to, have the burden of cancer and all the other feelings of unease and the treatments and whatever, right? So what did you do in that? Yeah.
A lot of streaming, like watching Netflix
I
at
mean, you
home.
streamed or you were watching? Oh, you were watching.
I was watching, yeah, and just at home sleeping. I couldn't do much anyways, because after treatment, you will just go home and sleep for like 2 days. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, may I ask, if you don't mind, how old are you now, or how long ago were you diagnosed with because you were 17, you were still at school, right?
Yeah, so I am 27 this year.
Oh, 27, so it's 10 years ago. Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Was there really Netflix 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, was there,
Yes, there was.
like, it's blown my mind. Like, I didn't even know it existed until COVID came.
Yeah. Yeah.
Netflix was around back then?
Yeah.
Like, I'm shocked, but I'm so glad they were, because at least it kept you company.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. It blew my mind that things existed before COVID. Okay, got it. So for yourself, Sabrina, what was your most challenging? So you mentioned that your initial reaction to receiving the diagnosis, you were really shocked, and you love kids, and that was, obviously that was maybe something that you had to take in at that time. But was there something more challenging than that during your journey?
There were I would say there were different challenges throughout the journey. So, my first initial challenge was how to break the news to my family members. I think that was a challenge to me, because both me and my husband were the only child. So and my in-laws, they also love, grandchildren and things like that, right? So that was like, oh, my first thing that came into my mind. Okay, how do I tell my in-laws, what just happened, right? So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is like how to break the news to my mom, because we do like have people around us that has this, but they were like super elderly, so it's not something that common. I would say even the doctor told me that you are probably the 1 to 2% that gets this. So that's like, wow, it's like lottery, right? So that's one.
Did you buy 4D? No.
Yeah, I know. So I think that's the first hurdle that I had. And then the second hurdle was going through the different stages, because we were planning to have our wedding reception because that was 1 year into our ROM. And I'm a Malaysian, so I live here with my husband. But during that time, we didn't have. I mean, the wedding reception was planned on that year itself, like that couple of months, but it didn't happen. So it kind of like pushed, right? So then because of having that in mind, we were like thinking, oh, so you need to go through all the different like chemo. You have to first go through 2 surgeries. I mean, I went through 2 surgeries and the chemo and the radio and coming back and forth because I was not very stable. So then they keep adding like sessions for me. So I couldn't see the end of the treatment at the time. So that was something challenging for me. And because before I had that diagnosis, I was full time, right? Like what Joanna mentioned, full time employee, and then suddenly, pop, this happened. So, financial, emotional, everything down, and so what, right? So I think that was something, a couple of hurdles, but those were the main hurdles. And then after that, there was the financial, and where we come to discuss later, the insurance and things like that. Yeah, so a lot of things along the way. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Sabrina, thank you for so much for sharing it, and thank you for being so real about it. And it is very true. What I mean by very true is that, I maybe should have rephrased this question, because I'm sure that there are, I mean, the initial reaction, and I mean, the initial news maybe is probably already challenging for everybody. But then, like you said, every part of your journey will have a new challenge, right? There's something that comes up, and then you continue and you manage to get through. But again, there's something else that will come up, and then you try and get through that, but there will be something else that comes up. So I just want to reroute back to Joanna and Farida. Was there anything else you'd like to share that maybe happened at a different part of your journey that you also found quite challenging as well, that you just wanted to share briefly with us all?
Okay. Perhaps I go first. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think because for my journey is a little bit unusual, because when I first been diagnosed, I didn't go immediately for the chemo or the radio treatment at all. So instead of that, I went to do something like called the alternative treatment. And that is by doing like changing your diet, taking supplements, hoping that the cancer will starve away, the cancer will die away. So for that, for that was a really difficult part, because there's a huge change in my lifestyle in terms of diet. And then from there, but the things didn't do too well. And finally, the tumor from stage 3, it went up to stage 4. It's like, that's it, you can't play anymore. Let's really get this done properly. So that's where I went back to my oncologist, radio oncologist. He was pretty mad. It was like, hey, if you have let me treated you 2 years ago, this will be done. Now from this big, you go to this big, I was like crying and crying. I'm sorry, so let's get it done. So that is a part. And then like what Sabrina has mentioned, because instead of going to the government hospital, I went to a private hospital. So finances are definitely a challenge. But really thank God that during this period of time, there are a group of people, actually from church, they came by and then they helped me along, with a few family members that are willing to, lend out a helping hand. So that was a part, and in the treatment itself was I was just how I feel, because it was really, really very challenging. In terms like I vomited 3 full days because of the chemo reaction, and then after that couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and after that that's kind of that end. But then go on to another stage, another phase will be the radio, and that's whereby you zap the head, the neck portion, and whereby a lot of the sores coming up, and then you lost appetite, and the person just shrinks smaller and smaller. So times like this, I think really, really tough to go through. And things like, especially during times that I literally want to give up, is thinking that is it time to stop it? Can I pull the plug? So a lot of uncertainties, even though you know you're going there, but not there, and then lots of pain physically, mentally and physically is a big challenge. No way I'm gonna pull through that easy without family, without friends that stood by me and say, hey, push it a little bit hard. And definitely with the faith I have in God, and then things just turn out to be well.
Thank you. And yeah, it's tough, but definitely. I mean, you all have different journeys. Thank you so much for sharing yours. And again, a little bit different to what Sabrina had been through. Frida, was there any other challenging aspect you wanted to quickly highlight as well?
I guess for me was because at that age I didn't really know what was going on. Whatever the doctor said, do this, do that, go for this, go for that. I just went. But what I saw was like my parents, like they were very devastated, or they were very anxious, and they were having a lot of feelings, but I couldn't like internalize like what cancer really was or how bad it is until like years later. So yeah, at that part, the hard part for me was like seeing my parents be very, very emotional and like all over the place. And like half the time I'm thinking like, why are they crying? Or like because I'm the one doing the chemo. So are they feeling my pain or like yeah. So I guess your parents really do feel your pain, like you see their child in pain. And I'm an only child and I'm the only girl. And they had me quite late, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah. Um yeah, I
yeah,
guess they
no,
see their
definitely. I
pain.
mean,
Yeah.
and not only that, I mean, for all of them, whether it's a spouse or whether definitely for parents, but especially when you're up against something like cancer, it is you as the bystander, the observer, you are powerless as well. Like even if you wanted to help your child, you can't. If you want to help your spouse, you can't. Of course, you're trying to make things comfortable. You're trying to do this or do that, but in the grand scheme of helping, it's not really, what a parent would want to do, right? It is really tough. So, again, I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that you are all here to share with us your journey, especially as we sort of commemorate this, Cancer Survivors Day, which was the start of June. I do want to say to you now, you know what, you've been through, I guess, some of these hard, tough journeys. How was it transitioning back to school, maybe for you, Farida? I'm guessing that because you had to drop out, you went back to school. How was it transitioning back to school, and later on Joanna and Sabrina as well? How was it going back to work? Do you mind starting off with that, Farida?
So after my treatment, I was like about 19 years old, and then I was like on Instagram and Facebook, and I saw all my friends graduating from either JC or poly, and I was like, I can't catch up. So at that time, I wanted to catch up, right? So I went the private route. So it was a shorter route, and I got my diploma a little bit like instead of doing 3 years, I got my diploma in like 1 year. Yeah, so I felt a little bit better. Yeah, but I couldn't handle going back to school because I didn't have hair. My hair didn't grow out yet, and I looked really, really bad because I had to do radiotherapy. So like what Joanna said, like mine was head and neck. So when they blasted the radiation, I had a lot of discoloration and like dark spots and all that. So I didn't really want to be in, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that again is just another hurdle, right? Another mental and emotional, burden and challenge, right? To also accept, these changes that are happening, because there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you for sharing, Joanna. Um, how was it getting back to work? Are you back to work now?
I am back to work. Okay, during that time when I just came out, I think I was so scared of getting sick. and plus it's kind of a taboo to tell people that you just survived cancer, you're in remission. People will just buy it. People are just, really? So when was it? No, a lot of doubt. I was like, hey, I'm okay now. They're like, right. A lot of doubts. And then to make my case even worse, I faced with ageism. So there's the part that I find that I'm not that young anymore. So that is make it really difficult. And then with a person that is of a certain age, and then with like diagnosed with cancer before, and then you're still, even though you're in remission, they're kind of thanks, but we'll think about it. So it wasn't easy, but good thing that there are people who are willing to give me the chance. So that's why I gave my best, and I'm able to work. Now I am working full time.
Fantastic. That's very, very good to hear. And for you, Sabrina, are you back into work and doing well now?
Yes, like what Joanna mentioned, I'm back full time. So I was actually out for about 9 months with the same company. It's just that I switched roles. So currently I'm doing something that's probably less stressful. Yeah. So
Oh,
something
wonderful.
that
So
is
you were still able to, so you were still able to keep the same job, or like they were willing to be with you and wait with you. Is that what happened then?
Yes, so I was, I mean, in my company, we have this thing called critical illness leave, whereby they give us some time. I mean, they partially help to cover certain parts of the salary, but then the rest of the time I have to take my leave, but they did not kick me out. I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
went back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Salute to your company. That is very, very kind, because it's like Joanna said, sometimes you just get faced with I mean, you suddenly don't become the first priority, because you could be a liability, and yeah. So I'm so
True.
glad. I'm so glad for you, Sabrina. So was there any moment, a defining moment, or some sort of pivotal moment that really stood out for you in your cancer recovery? So, like Sabrina, I mean, I would think that not the defining moment, but a defining moment is the fact that your company was still willing to help you and save your spot, if you will. But was there any defining moment that really stood out for you during your recovery?
I think the most um, one of the most defining one was I realized how much I would want to see the world when I was being chair bounded, bed bounded throughout that 9 months of my time, and I realized there are so much more things that I want to do, right? So that's the kind of feeling that I had. That I'm still so young, and still have so many things that I want to do, so many places that I want to go, right? So that's the kind of thing that kind of like drive me in terms of moving towards getting back to normal, I would say. Yeah.
So so when you said that drove you, that's like the one that kind of gives you more courage to keep fighting and make sure that you overcome this. Is that right?
Yes. So it's more of I would say, in a way, I'm the kind of person that likes to travel. So being bounded within my home, and my home was a one bedroom, especially during COVID as well. So you can't go anywhere, and it's the more that I think about the time that I was stranded, be it COVID plus my diagnosis, it kind of like gives me the fire inside. Yeah, I think.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Farida, was there any pivotal memory, any defining moments, during your recovery that really stands out that you'd like to share?
So when I was done with chemotherapy, what they do is on your last session, the nurses make you ring a bell. So at first they told me, oh, when you're done, when I first started, they told me when you're done, you're gonna like ring this bell. And I thought, okay, that's a little bit silly, but all right. But then when after going through all that, and then I rang the bell, and then I started crying. I don't know why, but like, yeah, I just felt so done and like, oh my God, finally. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that
now
must
I
have been
walk
an
past
amazing
yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, so whenever I see a bell, I'm like, okay, I'm not ringing that again. I don't want to ring that. I don't want to ring any
Yeah.
bell.
Just allergy.
So you're only a door knocker now, yeah? No, but no, it must have been something, and it must signify like, and I'm sure that even for all the nurses and the staff in the venue, when they hear that bell, they must be like hallelujah, like they must be also celebrating for you as well, and rooting for you as well, or for whoever who's ringing that bell, because obviously it signifies something big. Yeah. Yeah, wow, that is a defining moment. Thank you so much for sharing. Joanna, was there any again pivotal moment for you during your cancer recovery?
A couple of it, but unlike Farida, she has a bell to ring. I didn't. During my last session of the radio, I asked my radiotherapist that can I play a song while doing my last session. It's kind of a celebrate thing, and it's a happy song, Yeah, I think by Will Ferrell, the kind of it's a very happy song. So I want to play that song when doing the last session. She laughed and said, she said, why not? So I did that exactly for my last session. I said, yes, I finished that 33 sessions. Oh, that was a tough one. So that
Was
was
it
part
Will
of it.
Ferrell's Happy? Was it the song called Happy?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Right, and bring the roof down, the kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
must have that song. Like I was so glad that finally 33 sessions and that's that. So
Wow, 33 sessions.
yeah, it was.
Well done. Yeah. I mean, that must have been a huge relief, and did you have that same sort of relief, Sabrina, that maybe your last session, and and then that was kind of like, that was like, tick the box, you're done, no more. Did you have that type of
I think we didn't have the bell like what Faria had, and I didn't really play a song like what Joanne had, because
but
my
you did a
last
dance?
uh, no. Because my sessions were on top of, I think there were 6 chemo and 30 radio. So my last 2 sessions of radio was a little bit more, I would say, crucial, because it was it's in a way it's more targeted radiotherapy. I had that. I didn't. I treated myself with a good lunch. After the session, I'm like, I'm done with this. Let's go eat properly.
Yeah, move on. Let's get on with life. Push that aside. Let's go. Okay, wonderful. But after that, after the radio, I'm sure you're still feeling symptoms, right? I mean, like the actual from the radio, though, I'm talking about, or not at all.
Yeah. I think for radio, based on my understanding, I'm not too sure, right? Because my radio area is the entire abdomen, very bad.
Wow.
And the entire area, and the doctor in Singapore context a bit kiasu and do the radius a bit bigger, and it hit my gut, and I kept vomiting on the first 2 days. That usually do not happen, I think, for radio, but it happened to me. And then my symptoms were worse than my chemo for the first 2 days. But
Yeah.
eventually, I think it kind of like they tweak a little, and it kind of gotten better until the last day. So I'm like, phew. If not, I will be.
So the last day you could really enjoy you could really enjoy your treat, right?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, yes, I finally can have proper food without doing having the vomiting or nauseous and things like that. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, wonderful. So looking back, I mean, obviously this is an arduous journey. It's full of ups and downs, probably more downs than ups until you rung the bell or did your little song, or eat your favorite food. But when you look back now, sort of in hindsight, years later, were there any silver linings from this whole experience? Maybe Joanna, was there something that you got out of it that you're like, what? Well, blessing in disguise. It doesn't sound. Cancer's not a blessing, but what were the silver linings? Was there any, or yeah?
Definitely. I have a couple of them. Allow me to share. Number one is because I was on a very strict diet. Remember, initially, I was doing alternative, dieting, and then from the size 22. From a size 22, I was then down to about size 8. Went down. So it was like, yeah, new wardrobe. Yes, let's go shopping. That's one of the thing. Okay, that. And then the second part is really thankful because I've written an article for a Bible school, and then it was being picked up, and then somebody came forward and offered me a scholarship, a sponsorship to study in a bachelor degree in human nutrition. So I earned my degree. Yes.
Well done. Okay, yeah, that's very good. And I mean, the other silver lining that you haven't said, but I just want to go from a size 22, which is, I don't want to be offensive here, but that's a pretty big number compared to 8. Yeah, right. It's quite a sizes difference. Yeah, but then
it was this.
But besides the new wardrobe, your health markers in general. I mean, unfortunately, as we get to more overweight and obese, unfortunately, the risk of other chronic diseases also increases. So now you've also, improved your health from that perspective, I think, as well, which is again maybe another little silver lining that got out of it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Farida. Was there any silver linings? I know it must have been a struggle. The hair loss, your peers and being isolated. I mean, that's all a struggle. Can you find any silver linings in amongst all of that chaos?
So similar to Joanna, I went from a size 20 to a size 16. So it's not like 22 to 8, but that's still not bad. And so
that's really good.
That's a really good start. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I have some of my clients today who are telling me, oh, it's very easy to put on weight. It's very hard to lose weight. So the fact that you dropped is already, I guess a bonus, right? It's
it's a start. Then it's just about like maintaining, right? I also calmed down a lot because I was a very what's a nice word? I was a very rebellious teen. Right. So, I would skip school sometimes. I'll go home late and I was just very rebellious, like hormonal 17-year-old, 16, 17-year-old. And then after the whole treatment, because I was so tired, I couldn't do anything. I kind of just mellowed out. Like I became very calm. And so I'm guessing because of the treatment, I was too tired to do anything. Then over time, I kind of just became more chill. Yeah.
And it might just be like what you said, tired and just having to be at home and in bed and whatever. But I'm sure for everybody as well, and definitely for Sabrina, because she's actually already spoken a little bit about it with her idea that, I really, really cherish getting out of the house, and I really, love to travel, and there's so much that I need to do. I think psychologically there will be a pivot, a shift as well, where you might let go of certain belief systems, or let go of like things that are way less important. Like you may have put a lot of emphasis on it in the past, but now you're kind of like what you said, a bit more chill, right? A little bit like, yeah, I would, act up, or I would say this, but you know what? Something already tweaked a little bit, and your mindset or your belief system or whatever might have pivoted and shifted as well, and that might also be sort of part of your new demeanor, right? Your new self, evolved from being an angst or rebellious teenager, and now you've grown, and you've experienced something that we hope nobody experiences, but as a result of that, you become a better human, right? A new leader, with a new pant size as well.
Yeah.
Sabrina, yeah, any silver linings for you as you look back through your journey?
Unfortunately, I didn't
Did
go
you
down inside as much. A few kgs.
You're so small already. If you went down, you'd be missing. We wouldn't see you on screen.
So I think having to know the people around you that is supporting you, giving you the support, is a blessing, because you know who are the ones that are really I would say care about you. I think so. That's when the time that you really see true colors of the people around you. And I think that that was my silver lining. I mean, true colors in a way that they are a lot of them were really really helpful friends, family, colleagues, and so I think that is part of that silver lining in a way. That people are still there for you, even though some of them, you don't see them even not even once a year, but they would reach out and ask you if you need help. Yeah, so I think that's something that is
Wow.
very
They are keepers. You're very, very lucky, and I'm so glad that there was people. I mean, support systems are definitely, and we will go back into support systems in a moment, but yeah, definitely very, very vital. I mean, just to survive in this stressful world now, support systems are important, let alone when you're also having the battle of your life. So you mentioned, Sabrina, that you treated yourself for lunch. Was food ever a support system for you along the way? I know you had to vomit a little bit, but were there any cravings, or were there any foods that sort of helped you get by, maybe?
Okay, so because going through chemo, I'm pretty sure some of us have this issue. Going through chemo, you have this iron taste. I'm not too sure whether it applies to Joanna and Farida. You basically don't taste anything. Like anything that you eat seems flat. But I realized that's how I didn't lose my weight. I realized that sweet and sour, I can taste it even with my chemo, medicine kicked in. I can taste something out of the five senses. It affects your appetite as well. So cravings is anything that can bring me the appetite to eat, because I can't be not eating. There are people around us, like what Joanna mentioned, right? People around us, they would say some what you can eat, what you can't eat, and especially Chinese families, they will say, "Oh, seafood with shellfish cannot eat, duck cannot eat this and that. Yeah. If you go through that route, it may cause you to lose weight even more. But I didn't follow that uh, very strictly because my doctor said eat anything that makes me happy. So I ate anything that makes me happy.
Yes, and I mean, honestly, happiness is the key. I mean, like I think Joanna mentioned it before, right? But it's like, the challenge was, accepting it as well, right? And then having this positive. If you're happy and if you're positive, it will help. That alone won't cure you. You can't just be positive and happy and then suddenly your cancer disappears. But it's going to play a huge role in helping your immune system and your body to flourish as well as it can, given the situation and the circumstances. So, definitely. And I've hosted on these Facebook Live sessions before other nutritionists who also say the same thing. You lose your appetite and you have to eat, because if you really want the strength and you want to bolster your body system to fight this cancer, you need to eat. So you have to eat, like what your doctor said, things that stimulate your appetite, things that you enjoy eating. And I'm glad that you found that what worked for you. Right? Yeah. Joanna, did you have any either cravings, or did you lose your taste buds as well, or did you use food to comfort you?
I couldn't use food comfort, just like Sabrina or other cancer patients. Especially when I went through the radio, because these lavatory glands, a small one, all zapped, which means I left only 3 big ones. So it's literally experiencing dry mouth throughout. Even now, I'm having that problem. So I couldn't taste food much either. I'm not able to eat meat because it turned out to be like a dry cotton ball and will spit it out. So I don't have any craving for food. The only thing I feel like eating and it helps me is vegetables and porridge. That's all I have. And that fills me up. That's the best. Yeah. Okay. Nothing much. Oh, by the way, just a disclaimer, in case tomorrow when I'm back to work and my colleagues saw me, okay, I'm no longer size 8, right? I've increased a little bit more, okay? Just in case you're like, hey, Joanna, I thought you said you're size 8. No, I'm not. I increased a little bit more, okay? I'm more on the double digit, not the 22, but not the single digit, but slightly more big, okay? Please. No, I'm like, oh my gosh. You're like, wear corset? No, just kidding.
It's okay, Joanna. It's okay. But I'm glad you're eating now. But again, as what Sabrina said, sometimes we lose weight, and the losing weight, as much as it's a silver lining, it also may be a reflection of how difficult the struggle was.
Yes.
You see, you're not losing weight intentionally. It's very different when you lose weight intentionally. Like, okay, I'm going to do this in order to lose weight. Right now, you're losing weight whether you like it or not, in a way. Right? And honestly, that is in a way unhealthy as well. Right? You still need to eat well. And the fact that you like vegetables is good, because again, good nutrition, right? And we want to have high nutrition, right? Which is very important just for overall immune system, let alone fighting a cancer. Farida, was there any food that you couldn't taste or that you enjoyed eating because it was the only thing you could taste? Did you have anything like that?
So I realized I couldn't taste anything when I started like eating a lollipop. So I always have sweets in my bag, like always some kind of sweet, some kind of snack. And so after a few sessions, I was like, okay, I kind of want to eat something. So I whipped out my lollipop. I tried sucking on it. I was like, then I looked at it and I was like, this is kind of bland. It was like the Chupa Chup lollipop, I was like, what? And then so I tried so I went down to the hospital. I got like ice blended coffee, I got cake, I got donuts, I got bread. I couldn't taste anything and I was like, oh no. Like doctor warned me, but like it hasn't happened yet. And I was like, okay, this is the start of something. So then when I went home, I smelled KFC. Like I was walking past KFC and I was like, I want KFC. So that was the only thing I could eat throughout like the 2 years. I was having KFC for 2 years and I lost weight. Eating KFC for 2 years.
That is silver lining right there, guys. If you've heard it from Farida, 2 years of KFC and losing how many kilos? Roll up. Who wants cancer? You can lose weight and eat KFC. No. Don't want to do that. But again, it's so interesting. I mean, we all will have our own, adaptations. And again, I'm glad you all found something that, that you enjoyed, or something that, kind of, I guess, hit the spot for you, just to make that whole journey a bit less difficult, just that, you had something that at least you could fall back on. Now, by the way, now do you eat KFC? Or you kind of
No,
look
I'm
at
so
KFC
sick
and
of
go, oh
it.
my God, like the bell. Like you're like, oh my God, KFC, no.
Overdose.
I was so sick of KFC, Popeyes, any fried chicken. Oh my god. No.
So were there a list of things? I mean, this Chupa Chup, was there things like a Chupa Chup that you really wanted? Like when this was all over, you're like, I so want to have a lollipop again. Or, was there something that you really wished for? Did you have a list? Or was there sort of one thing that you really wanted to do after your treatment when it was all done? What was that one thing? It may not be the Chupa Chup. It might be something else. But was there anything, Frida, that, you really wanted after it's all said and done?
I remember I really wanted cake because I couldn't eat cake. Well, I could eat cake, but I couldn't taste the cake, right? So
Taste
my eyes were looking at it, yeah. But when it went into my mouth, it's like nothing. Yeah, I
So
can't
did you get your
explain it,
cake? But now,
yeah,
I mean,
I got
after
cake.
when it was all done, and did you enjoy it? Did you, wow, like one whole cake?
Oh yeah, I ate the whole cake to myself. Like I had cake for like a few days. Like when I realized like I could start tasting again, because it wasn't immediately, it took like a few months. But the moment I realized I could taste something, I told my dad
Right.
I wanted to eat cake. He drove me to the nearest mall, we got a cake. And yeah.
Nice. Sabrina, what was yours? Did you go on holiday? Did you travel immediately after you're done? Or what was the wish list that you wanted?
Yeah, I did quite a lot of travel, but I was doing it slowly. But I had to have somebody to go with me, so to accompany me, because I can't carry heavy things like bulky items, right? So it started my journey of traveling. Yeah. Importantly, I need to have somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. And it comes back to that support as well.
Yes.
Joanna, was there one thing that you or something that you wanted to do like the moment you were done?
No, I just wish I just kind of like glad that everything is over. I can sleep and be at peace. That's all. Nothing really. Yeah. No, not really.
Wow. But and that's great to hear. I mean, like having a good night's sleep is it must be a huge relief, right? And like this burden
Definitely
lifted off your shoulders.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't want to dampen the mood by asking this question, but it leads me right into this question. Is that, you've got this, you can sleep and you're just like, oh, I'm done. But is there a fear in the background that it might relapse? And if there is, how do you deal with that? I mean, it must be another challenge, another hurdle, I'm sure, but yeah.
It's true. It is true.
Yeah. Do
So
you have any do you have this fear? I mean, like you got over it, and then are you like, am I really done, or is there a fear, or how do you deal with this fear?
I think this is always a very nagging thing. It just nags in every cancer survivor's mind. It just couldn't go away because you don't know when it's going to come back. Even though I've been cleared for more than 10 years, well, will it be ever come back again? So the thing is, it's like times whereby suddenly I know my neck, I have a swell up. It's like, oh no, is it coming back again? I'll dash to the oncologist again and let it check again. So with this, well, I like to quote Franklin Roosevelt. It said that courage is not in the absence of fear. All right, it's not having fear, but it's how you deal with it, how you face the fear. I think that is the thing that I will always tell myself. So it's not about bury my head, in a sense, thinking that, oh no, it's gonna fight, it's gonna fight. No, it's like when it happens, or will it ever happen again? How are we going to do it again? So not that it will happen, not that I wish it ever happened, but the thing is like move on, just keep moving on, and not just let
Well
them
done.
to boil down and they say, oh no, I'm not going to try because I'm a cancer survivor, I'm doing this. No, I think I would like to just push my envelope a little bit more and see how can I go far with the life I'm given again.
Wonderful. Wow, tough. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Farida, is there any fear of reoccurrence, or and if there is, how have you been dealing with it so far?
So that is always on my mind. Especially like if I get sick or I get the flu, and naturally your lymph nodes will swell. So I'll start pressing. And like when I feel a lump, I'll start to panic, and then it becomes like an endless cycle, right? So, and I'm not even 30 yet. So I'm thinking like, what if 10 years later, 20 years later, it comes back? Because I'm still like pretty young, and I still have like very long, or at least I hope I still have very long. And like, what if halfway it comes back again? Then I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that. So I tell myself that's in the future. We'll deal with it when we get there. Um, so now I just try to like be in the present. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's great advice for everybody. I mean, like literally everybody. We so worry about tomorrow, next week, next month. Yeah, yeah. Let it sort itself out. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Farida. And yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to have that. The moment the lump is the swelling, right? When you get sick, and the turmoil that might bring up. But yeah, keep being strong. You're doing fantastic so far. Sabrina, do you also have yeah, this fear and of reoccurrence, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I concur with the two ladies. Yes, it's haunting. No matter what you do, it'll haunt somewhere at the back of your mind. Tickling you and day and night, even when you sleep. But I agree with Farida because we both. I mean, she was much younger, but for me, I have. I mean, I hope I have so many more years to go, and having to diagnose at a young age, in a way, I think I look at it positively, right? So if diagnosed at a young age, it means that your immunity is probably better, your metabolism in a way it's better, so you heal faster. So then, I mean, so that it helps you recover and get back to what you want to do. So in terms of, I think for me it is more of the, the 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 thinking that what Farida said, right? Live in the present. So that's what I always uh, people around me. So mindset is very important. Like what the I think that's what we have in common. Three ladies here. Mindset needs to be positive because you are in control of your life, right? Anything that being thrown to you, it's how you react to it. So if you're hit with a big sea, so how do you deal with it? Do you dwell upon it, or do suck yourself in a black hole to ask why is it me? Why is this happening to me at this time, and why is not somebody else? That kind of thing. So having that positive mind is important. Having to be living in the present is important. So I think this too is key for me in probably the two ladies here would share the same. Yeah.
Thank you. And of course with this fear and all of these, like, what if, and it could, and like Farida, if she gets sick and the lymph nodes swell, I'm guessing that support and people around you is also very valuable, right? I mean, now 10 years on, after going through your chemo, your radiotherapies, but if you look back during your treatment, what was there a particular kind of support or something that somebody did that really helped you, like it helped you cope? Maybe it could be mentally, or gave you some encouragement or some strength or something. What kind of support was the thing that really kind of helped anchor you, or gave you that courage to face the road ahead? Sabrina, would you like to start? Was there somebody or something that they did that really helped you during these difficult periods?
I think firstly is my husband. So I think he's the closest to me during that period where it was COVID. It was the peak of COVID where everybody couldn't travel, and him as well as my mom was with me, and my husband, because I was having a stoma bag, so I had to have it changed very often, and I have skin, like sensitive skin, so you can imagine how many times we change per week. Supposedly it's once to twice per week, but I change it every day. So having to have the closest, the immediate family to be supporting that, I think that's very important. And then having them kind of like influence the mindset that you have, right? So having them they are positive, especially my husband, right? He's a very positive person. Everything it's like, don't think about it. Don't think about tomorrow today. Just think about it tomorrow, that kind of thing. So I kind of like being influenced by that. So that's how I went through.
Yeah.
And of course, the friends.
Well done, Sabrina's husband.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. Yeah. Wow, this is really good. Yeah, salute. Farida, was there some kind of support that really helped you cope, or gave you some strength? The desire to eat cake, or what was it?
Yeah, definitely going a lot to desire to eat.
Sorry.
But I guess my parents were really like MVP. Like so in the mornings my dad would drive me to the hospital for treatment, for appointments, and so he was like the OG work from home. He do his company. I'm very grateful for his workplace as well, like that they understood his situation, right? So he and my mom, they would just accompany me for chemo. So my chemo would be like 6 to 8 hours each session. So they just sit there. My dad would have his laptop, do his work. So even though they couldn't do like much, it also felt like they did a lot, just by being there and driving me to the appointments.
Yeah, just their presence, right, and just knowing that they've got your back. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh wow, very, very good. And yes, the OG of working from home or working remotely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So salute to your father, and salute to his company as well, right, for having that type of compassion and flexibility. That's yeah, we've got some great people here that are speaking, also great supports, and Sabrina's company as well. And yeah, Joanna, how about yourself? What kind of support really helped you during these tough times?
Okay. In fact, it was my church friends. I have a group of them that they gather around me, not just giving me spiritual, emotional support, but some even offer financially. Because as a single person, to go through the treatment in a private hospital, it's not cheap at all. So, but yet they came around and say, "Hey, Joanna, not to worry. Be at ease. Just go for a treatment, and every month we'll take care for you." And not just only that, they make sure there are food on my table. I mean, I was so touched. I don't have to cook at all. People will just deliver the food to my doorstep, and then I'll just eat. And then if, let's say, I need help to go to a hospital, and then if any one of them is free, they will ferry me there. And then that is the kind of support that really helped me through my very tough time. Yeah, that's
Wow.
to this day I'm still very grateful to them.
Yeah, heroes don't wear capes at all. I mean, you guys have just described some amazing people, and you know, this is the thing for everybody. We all want support. We all, you know, in our normal day-to-day lives, we want support. But you know, is there something that you would, you know, wish for any cancer patients or family members of cancer patients who are online watching us and listening to your story right now? Is there something that you would wish for people to understand more about supporting cancer fighters? Like, is there something that you wish that, you know, somebody could have done for you, or that you might have heard or see other people? You're like, oh, why is it like that? You know, I got that, but you know, how come they couldn't? You know, is there sort of one thing that you wish that people could understand of maybe how we could help support you during your journeys? Maybe Joanna, would you like to kick us off with that?
Sure. For me, I think it's more like, okay, I'm going to be quite blunt about it. So pardon me, okay? Stop giving advices. Some of them, I know
Yeah.
you guys love us, you know, you want to be good. Just like, don't. Someone is like too many voices coming in. It's very overwhelming. You know, as I've gone through the process, it's really, really scared. And then I know well wishes, you heard somebody say this, you know, drink this, but sometimes it doesn't really work. It depends on individual body. So times like this, I would actually hope, and then I would advise that certain times is like you speak to a professional healthcare, a person like an oncologist or a counselor, and to give proper ones. And then I think for me, that means the most is just stand by, stand together. You don't talk much, but just stand together. Say, hey, I'm with you. Just like my sister did. My sister doesn't know much. My sister doesn't say much. Just say, sister. Call me in Hokkien. They call me Mei Mei. You know, I mean, I know what you're going through. I don't know, but I support you. That gives me the ultimate strength. I said, thanks, Jad. I will just do whatever, and then you just come along. And to me, that speaks the most.
Yeah. Wow. Sabrina, did you face the same sort of advices coming in everywhere? And you know, what
Oh,
would you
yes.
want people to understand more?
I will also be very blunt. um, do not take advice from people outside the healthcare. Like, do not eat shellfish, do not eat crab, no duck, all that. Please, do not eat red meat. No, my doctor actually said red meat is good for blood. Because I lost a lot of blood during my surgery. So yeah, so not. I mean, you can listen, but you do not take it seriously, right? So, but most important is your own appetite, right? And everybody is different. So that's one. The second thing I think very important is to reach out. A lot of people, when they are diagnosed, they always keep to themselves, and they don't. I mean, their family members may not know, right? Because they are like thinking, oh, I shouldn't tell because it's not something that. I mean, people only tell happy things, right? Or things like this, any not so happy events. I think it's important to tell because you never know your health is just an arm's length away, right? So I think telling, sharing, your own comfort is important. Especially you can get help from professional like we we have counseling, right? So I mean I've gotten the help because I was sharing with people that I was going through this, and I actually got the contact from 365 from that after being shared. So yeah, I think these are the main two things.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Sabrina, for sharing. And yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, so many people try to do it on their own, and it's so much more difficult. I mean, Joanna, I mean, you of all have talked about the heroes that have been with you through your journey. But I also just want to take this opportunity to say, yeah, there are some people who have never heard of 365 Cancer Prevention Society, and they don't know what we stand for or what um, opportunities and supports and help that could be rendered, services that could be rendered. So yeah, spread the word and encourage people to reach out for help. They don't have to do this alone. Farida, is there anything else you'd like to add? I mean, we've already got some great points. Is there anything you'd like to add to share with cancer fighters or their family members, whoever is listening in, to help support cancer fighters?
So for those who are going through it, um, please reach out. Definitely, like what you guys said, because there are people like I wish I had reached out, or like if I had known. I mean, I was 17, right? So I didn't really have like a lot of resources. But like if I had the resources that I know are around now, I definitely would have reached out, because then you wouldn't feel so alone. You wouldn't feel so isolated, because I lost my friends. I lost everybody. The only people I had were my parents, right? Then like at that time, even my then boyfriend like left, because who wants to date a bald 17-year-old, right? So yeah, so it's good to reach out. And then for caregivers or for family or anyone that's supporting the cancer fighter, please be patient. Because sometimes we are a lot and we don't mean to be a lot, but like we are going through like hell. So please be patient. And also like even if you don't know what to do, like my mom, she's Thai, she doesn't speak a word of English, but like so I explained to her what cancer is and what lymphoma is, and she doesn't get it, but she's there, like she's like, okay, I don't know like how to help you, but I can be with you. Yeah. So even that, like just the presence itself is like good enough. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
just Google. You can Google too.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, and no, but what you said is true as well. It's tough. I mean, honestly, it is tough as a cancer fighter and going through that journey, and hearing what you guys have said. It's also tough to be the loved one trying to navigate and trying to give the advice that you don't want to listen to, and taking sometimes the impatience or the struggles that you are struggling with as well. So on both sides, I think we do need to support each other and just kind of be there and have a certain level of understanding, I think, for everybody across the board. Now, we have somebody in the room here, Joanna, who has also now stepped up to help support cancer fighters in their recovery. And so, as a cancer fighter and a cancer survivor yourself, what is it like now to even, be that pillar of support, or be somebody like your big sister to support them? Like, what is that like? Can you just share with us quickly?
Right. For that, I think it makes me much more easier to relate, because I understand better where they're coming from and what their worries, what their fears. So instead of just blindly dishing out advices or suggestions, I'll ask them, what are you comfortable with? What are your fears? Would you like to share first before we move on to the next step? So that is how we've been giving right now in the society, to help people in recovering, or rather, especially recovering to their normal life. Because those clients I'm saying that they are cancer survivors, but they are in the space, or rather in the mode whereby they have been in such a fear for a long time. They are fear bounded by a lot of foods myths, and then they don't know how to walk out of it. So they thought that, oh, like what Sabrina has said, no, I cannot eat red meat. I cannot eat dark meat. No, I cannot eat this fish. No, I cannot eat that vegetables. No, I cannot eat this. I was like, no, why do you think you can't eat it? So understand a little bit more and debunk the myth that for them, it helps them a lot. It's like freeing them up, seeing a person being free, like women to walk out of their fear, very, very satisfying. So and for them to see that they broke free from the kind of like the cage that they put inside. Imagine the person has a cage over it. So to see that the cage been lifted up and they're able to walk out of it, it is very, very satisfying. And then from there they able to take on to a much more normal life rather than living in doubt and fear, but now they're living in bravery, in courage, and able to see them walk more confidently.
Yeah, wonderful. And I mean, I hear a theme between what all three of you have said is, you know, Sabrina and Farida was also talking about sort of reaching out and don't be scared to ask for support and, you know, tapping onto resources. And then now you're also saying, because you are in that space where you're actually asking them, saying, hey, tell me what's going on. Talk to me. Tell me your fears. Tell me what's happening. So I'm kind of curious, like, with tonight's sharing so far, we're going to be wrapping up soon, but with tonight's sharing so far, and maybe with all the other people you may have spoken to over the last few years, 10 years for some of you who, you know, have you know, got the diagnosis 10 years ago, you know, do you feel that sharing your story has helped you with your healing and helped you get on with life post cancer? Does talking help? Maybe yeah, Sabrina, did you want to kick us off? You know, do you
Sure.
feel that sharing your story has helped and does continue to help, even like tonight, you sharing again?
I think accepting from the start and being open to share is a blessing in disguise, I would say, because it helps people once you start sharing and you start hearing a lot about other people that is probably facing similar, if not the same problem, and then people will start to open up themselves. So having the opportunity to share, I've been sharing since the start until today. I think it helped me to help them in a way, right? So were able to open up to me, and I was being able to direct them to, for example, 365 in this case. So I had a couple of friends that was going through, and I was able to direct them to the right resource. And having to go through myself, I think it kind of, people always say, why share this issue? It might affect your, I don't know, employability, probably. I think companies that will take this as a deterrence from hiring you, then you may need to think twice whether you want to join them. So in a way, it has that kind of yeah. So I think sharing it makes me relieve the memories that I have and going through the feelings. I mean, in a very short roller coaster mode, and I feel I'm more blessed to be able to be at this stage now. Yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, on top of that, if I just want to add, you know, as much as employability, but you think of it in another perspective. If you are tough enough to go through all of that hell and come out of it, you should be a great employee, because whatever stress, whatever stuff that comes up, you will be, you know, you have the resilience and the capacity to deal with it, right? Your average Joe who's never had cancer, never struggled in their life, right? They're wussy.
The
Right? Like they're
patient,
weak.
right?
Right. Sabrina,
No sip, no sip.
do you think sharing has helped you, or you know, and also like, what does it mean to survive today? Like, I mean, I've just sort of hopefully inspired you. Like, you guys are tougher than the average person. Okay. You guys are more resilient, you're more capable, you're more resourceful, you're more, you know, you can figure things out. The mind is going to be so much tougher. So, has telling your story helped? Or maybe another question would be like, this surviving and this survivorship, like, what does that mean to you today? Or what do you feel is valuable about being here right now with us tonight?
So for me, I feel like it's helping me more than, if somebody listens to my story and they feel like it has helped them, I feel like it helps me more as well, because I didn't share before at all until like a few years ago, and then like a newspaper article came out. So that was the very first time like I went public with my diagnosis. And I mean, my friends didn't know, nobody knew, right? Not even some family members. So when it went out and everybody saw, and once I was like on TV, and everybody started messaging, and they were like, what, you have cancer and all that. And then I started to realize I had like neighbors whose children are also, well, adult children are going through cancer or treatment. And then they would come to me and they'll be like, so what can I do for my kid? And then that's when I started thinking like, oh, so there's nothing to be embarrassed about, because I had this mindset like, oh, it's very embarrassing, maybe I should like shut up, like I shouldn't talk about it, right? But then I started realizing like there are people who want to hear, and people who are, finding maybe some strength from you. Like I find some strength from hearing other people's story, right? Yeah. Especially with me, it's pretty unique because it's like I was like a teenager, you know. Yeah. And I also agree. I didn't think about it from the employability aspect, but now that I think about it, I should go and tell my boss tomorrow.
No, but you are powerful. You are powerful. I mean, we are all powerful. We are all powerful human beings, and we tend to hide away from our power. Like we have strengths that sometimes we don't know as strengths until somebody asks you, and then you realize, oh wait, actually, yeah, I have that superpower. And I think that's wonderful that you are now finding yourself within your experience, and now you are empowering others because of your experience, which I think is another silver lining, right? It's another, it's not even a tick. It's more like another weapon in your arsenal of things that you can do. Yeah. Joanna, was it, did you want to add anything else to this conversation about, telling your story?
Okay, it's definitely is a very healing moments for me. So whenever I share my story out, somehow it just encourage other people. They saw how difficult the journey was, and saw how been walked through, and somebody gone through the meal, the fire came out. For me personally, he asked me, I was like, I don't know, I just went right through. I mean, honestly, I just like go through the whole thing without thinking much. But I didn't realize that when we shared my story out, it encouraged people around me. Even be it cancer or chronic disease or any other situation in their life, they feel that, hey, if Joanna can go through it, probably I can go through it too. So it gives them somehow the courage to go through, which I'm very, very humble and say that, well, I'm glad my story helped you. So, but for me, wise, it's like, hey, I remember. So whenever I see the scar on my neck, I don't see a scar anymore. I don't have to cover it up. I just remember I see a scar, and that scar has become my trophy. So to me, it heals me.
Yeah, wonderful. And so I know you guys have shared so much today, and we've covered a whole host and range of topics, and we're going to wrap up. So I just want to have one last question, just one last inspiring statement from all of you. What one piece of advice would you give to someone who is beginning their survivorship journey? So maybe they are still fighting cancer, or maybe they are in remission and they are tuning in because they're, again, like you guys, receiving more courage or more hope or more strength from hearing other stories. So what's that one piece of advice you'd give to someone about survivorship? You know, one piece of advice. What's the powerful message that you want to bring home? The last thing that you're going to share with us today, Sabrina.
You are not alone. We are all in together.
Thank you. You are not alone. I love it. Joanna, one piece of advice.
Remember, rainbow only appears after storm.
So there's always
So-
good things to look forward to.
Correct.
And a brighter future. Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. And Frida, you know, you lost everything. You lost your friends, you lost your life, you lost your identity for a couple of years, and you didn't want to step out of the house. What's the one piece of advice you'd like to give somebody?
I would say be patient with yourself and be very forgiving to yourself. You don't have to rush into anything. Like you already completed like one of the biggest hurdles. So now you can take small steps to go where you want to go or where you need to go. Like no rush.
Be patient, love yourself, trust yourself. I love it. All right. Well, ladies, it's been an absolute delight to be the host and to speak to you guys tonight. I've had a ball, and I hope you guys have enjoyed yourself as well.
I do, certainly. Thank you
you.
so much, Gary.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
having me.
all
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you once more for being here and listening in, tuning in tonight. Please do like and share us on social media. Keep up to date on the latest events that we're having. Thanks once again. My name is Gary. It's been a delight to have you here this evening. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next Facebook Live. Until then, please take care, stay healthy, and good night.